All right, let's dive right into this. We're going to break down the crisis that's unfolding in what is, without a doubt, the world's most critical oil choke point.
It all starts with this number, 706. That is the number of ships right now sitting at a complete standstill. They've created the biggest maritime traffic jam in recent memory. They're just idling, waiting, caught in a geopolitical showdown that has absolutely slammed the brakes on global trade.
So what's causing this massive gridlock? It's something called a soft blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this isn't a hard blockade, where they physically sink a ship to block the channel. No, this is a military warning that has some serious teeth. The message is simple. Pass through here without our say-so, and you will be attacked.
So the big question is, how on earth did we get here? How did the planet's most important energy artery just seize up like this? And more importantly, what does this whole mess mean for the rest of us?
Okay, first things first, let's just break down what's happening on the water right now. The whole thing ignited after an attack on targets inside Iran, and the retaliation, it was incredibly swift. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps put out a blunt broadcast, warning all unauthorized ships to stay away from the strait. And when a few ships ignored that warning and were attacked, well, that was it. Most shipping companies just stopped, creating the insane gridlock we're seeing today.
And the scale of this disruption, it's just staggering. I mean, look at these numbers. We're talking about 85% of all traffic through the strait just halted. There have been at least 5 confirmed attacks, which has caused insurance costs to just skyrocket. We're talking over 500%. And here's a really telling detail. The only ships reportedly being allowed through are flagged to China and Iran. Meanwhile, you've got 40 of these massive oil tankers, these very large crude carriers, each one holding 2 million barrels of oil, just stuck inside the Gulf, trapped. So let's get to the economic fallout, because this isn't just some regional issue. The ripples from this are already being felt thousands and thousands of miles away. This is a truly global problem.
No surprise here, the first and most immediate hit was on oil. Brent crude, which is the global benchmark, shot up from $72 to $85 a barrel almost overnight. That's a jump of nearly 18% in just a couple of days, and that puts pressure on pretty much every economy out there. But if you think that's bad, check out what happened to natural gas. Qatar is a huge source of natural gas for Europe, and with their exports cut off by the blockade, European gas prices skyrocketed a staggering 54%. It's just a brutal reminder of how fragile the world's energy markets are and how much they depend on single choke points like this.
Now this is where things get really, really interesting. All this economic panic kicked off a fascinating, and you could say very revealing, diplomatic power play. And it shines a huge spotlight on the changing relationships between the US and Asia's 2 biggest energy giants, India and China.
Right in the middle of the chaos, the United States makes a major move. But not through some formal diplomatic channel. Oh no, it came via a tweet from the Treasury Secretary. And it was a 30-day temporary exemption, basically a waiver, that allowed India to buy Russian oil that was already on its way at sea.
And this right here illustrates the heart of the political fallout. The language tells the entire story. India was given a 30-day waiver. The word used in Hindi media was mohlat, which pretty much means a grace period, an allowance. Now compare that to China. The US simply asked China to consider cutting back its oil purchases. Do you see the difference? One is an order, the other is a request. And if there was any doubt about that difference in tone, a top US diplomat basically spelled it out for everyone at the Raisina dialogue in Delhi. The message couldn't be clearer. The US sees India as a rising power that it needs to, well, manage. They're determined not to, as he put it, repeat the same mistake they feel they made with China 2 decades ago.
So you can see why for so many people, especially inside India, this whole thing stopped being about barrels of oil pretty quickly. It became about something much, much deeper. It became about national dignity and the unwritten rules of diplomacy in the modern world.
In the Indian press, the debate just exploded around these concepts of national honor. Words like Swabhiman for self-respect and Garima for dignity. And the core question that critics started asking was, wait a minute, why should a sovereign independent nation need permission or a grace period from another country just to secure the energy it needs to survive? And this number really highlights the country's core vulnerability. India imports 85% of its crude oil.
A huge chunk of that normally comes right through the Strait of Hormuz, which is now blocked. That dependency creates this immense pressure to find oil anywhere it can, which sets the stage for these incredibly difficult diplomatic choices.
So this whole situation, it boils everything down to one critical question. And it's a question that nations all over the world, not just India, are having to face more and more often.
At the end of the day, it forces this incredibly difficult choice between pragmatic survival, getting the energy you desperately need to keep the lights on, and the principles of national pride and sovereignty. It's this fundamental tension between what's practical and what's right. And honestly, there's no easy answer here, but that very choice is already drawing the new fault lines of global power.